Hey everybody, welcome back to Roadside Nuggets today. Love you all. Hope everyone's doing all right out there. Got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of intense energies popping off still. The new moon wasn't that far off, so still got all that emotional energy and charge coming up to the surface. Thank you, angels, and pushing everything and everyone into the next phase of their experience. Whatever you have been walling off, especially for a lot of years. That's definitely the big pointer coming up for everyone. Definitely, you can say that we have evolved, we've healed, we've grown up, we've gotten past a lot of certain things in our life. But we get to this point where we realize there still is a lot of boundaries. There's still a lot of boxes that, as adults, we end up going to more excuses and justifications of why we have those. And it's more of like out of this, false sense of like, 3D responsibility and just your duty as an adult, whether you're a man or a woman, and just what you have to do. And it gets us further, into evasiveness with ourselves to, find the cause, the reason why. Why would they now pay attention to any of those things? And I feel definitely, definitely with the experiences coming up and just with the portals that are open now and what mom's really pushed through, it's gonna test everyone on a lot of levels. And it's definitely why I named it vulnerability, as bliss, because vulnerability, number one, is one of the biggest stepping stones, I would say, and embodying the higher self. And it's a continuous process. It's a constant layer after layer after layer process, going through that. And you learn so many things. You learn so many things about what's going on, and just with yourself and why you chose, maybe didn't choose those opportunities or experiences before. A lot behind choice has to do with what you've already predicted. Has to do with a lot of what you've already premeditated, what you expect to happen, what you think is going on. And all of this ultimately just is a massive block. Vulnerability, and being present in the present moment. What is being vulnerable in the present moment? Vulnerability is more than just, this being naked in front of someone. Vulnerability has a lot to do with unraveling yourself. The deeper internal parts that come through expression, that come through dreams and wishes and different things you wish to co-create and bring into the world or accomplish. All those different things, and the vulnerability for you to even know that yourself from life, from your experiences in life, and know it so well that to a certain extent, this is what I want. There's a lot of people on this planet that don't actually know on a lot of levels, to a point where they have falsified this with 3D mainstream propaganda. And they will conform to mass produced things because it has more attention, more energy behind it, more this, that, more chatter, probably more commercials and things like that. And it's that inner longing, the inner yearning to be a part of, to have everything that everyone else has, to be that set template. This kind of like 3D, very brainwashed dream, the American dream, where you had like the beautiful house, the white picket fence, the dog, the wife, the children, the car, and like life was good at that. That's it. You made it in life. You can have a barbecue every day until you die now, right? Like that's what a lot of people literally are spending so much effort and just pain and suffering just to get to something similar to that, for themselves, or whether they're living for other people, and they're not really vulnerable with what they really want to follow in their life, what they're really interested in, what they're curious about, and spending those moments, the energy on that in those lanes. Because if they are curious, they're interested in the first place, it's something coming to you. It's contract. It's something that needs to be experienced through your being, But people have all these belief systems. They have all these thinking they know better, like, oh, well, this, and, it's just telling lies, telling stories to ourselves of why we don't have to step out of that box. Why do we don't have to cross the line? Why don't we have to go the extra mile anymore? And then we use the delusion that we're just tired, that we're bored or we're exhausted or we're just over it, getting disappointed all the time. And let's just stop right there. A lot of people are tired of just being disappointed. And the only way you can be disappointed is if you had expectations to even begin with. So really, whose fault is that? Whose accountability is it really in the end of the day when you lay your head on the pillow for that situation, for that condition? Is it really the other person's fault, or do they just kind of fall into the same template you were setting up for yourself since the beginning? You can't go around pushing your way and then expect things to, just happen the way you want. Everyone is in a unity experience. It's a collective unity experience where individual souls are going through individual experiences while part of the collective one, which means it's going to be very unique across the board for every single being on this planet. It's the whole reason why we needed billions and billions of souls on this planet, physically incarnated for a purpose, because all that energy and density on this planet needed to go to vessels. So you can blow it out to the bigger picture and then squeeze it back into the smaller points, over and over and over again. But you have to let go of the expectations. There's no way you can predict or expect what will occur because nothing's in the future. The past doesn't even exist. So if there's only present moment, then at any moment, anything can change. Any moment, anything can flip, transform, be evolved to a higher perspective. You never know at any moment. And it's open to that. It's left open to that, where all these other energies work together in unity to co-create that truth. Vulnerability has a lot to do with truth in a lot of ways with yourself. Being honest, really, about not even just your life, just about you, about how you feel, what do you want out of life, where you at right now, with, what are your intentions? Do you feel like you have purpose at this point? Do you feel like you probably need to find one? The honesty has nothing to do with, being condemning or condescending to yourself, judgy, blamey, or trying to compare. It's none of those things. Being honest is really being clean with yourself. Like, look, this is my shit, and I don't know what I'm doing, and really having a good look at it, being honest with yourself. Okay, I probably have tried this a million times. Am I really going to do this again? And he's like, how transparent and vulnerable can you be with yourself on something? Honest about it to where the full truth can be realized because you're willing to be honest with at least yourself. If not anybody else, at least you're willing to be honest with yourself so you can see the truth. But that only comes from the vulnerability, being able to open up to your own self and look at yourself, look at these things that are going on, and being honest about it, which does nothing to do with any judgment system at all. So everything you've been conditioned and taught and programmed in 3D up to this point, with how to compare yourself, how to compete with others, how to, structure yourself or measure yourself on the spectrum of hierarchy, those things don't exist. Yet that's been everyone's reason and purpose for doing things, for accomplishing things, for going 100 miles. Because they know the cheers are going to be there. They know the validation and the external, love and all this is going to be there. But yet, all the while, those people are hiding from so many things. We are all hiding from so many things. And there's so many things we're just refusing to be honest about. At this point, it's like, why the arm wrestle? Why are you going to try to wrestle yourself to the ground and still not admit the truth at this point? Thank you, angels. What is the point in really holding back? Who are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? What are you going to do? There's a lot of moments in my life, growing up. This partly frustrates me. There's a lot of moments growing up, especially as a child. And I was very aware of these things. And it would frustrate me how people would just fall apart. Just quit on themselves so much to the point where they will shut down and allow life just to close in on them. And it's not really life, it's just their own manifestations of self-fulfilling prophecy, victim consciousness, depravity. If you want to experience the lower, timeline of things, you can choose that if you want to. It's not nice, not pretty, And this is where we really get to the point of, honestly asking ourselves, how much more pain and suffering am I willing to put myself through? How much abuse am I going to incur on myself going forward? Can you really call yourself out on what you're doing to yourself that's stealing your own joy, your own happiness away, before you can look outside yourself and point at something else for being the reason why you're not happy, why you can't find joy? Are there actually choices you've been making the entire time that's actually been blocking it? Being lack of vulnerability, not choosing to express and expose yourself for what and who you are authentically. Instead, you would masquerade, play a charade game with people, superficial conversations, wordplay, draining and sucking energy for hours for nothing, accomplishing nothing, all while just to, manage this mask you want to put up for people to accept, to think that that's truly what you are and who you are, and that's truly where the happiness comes from, because when you go home, your body, your entire being, your soul knows what you're doing. It sees everything what you're doing the whole entire time. And the fact that you would neglect yourself, you would deny yourself, absolutely not. And that is a big block to vulnerability, is the denial. And denial is much more than just denying thoughts or being in denial and your own fantasies. Denial has a lot of just not accepting experiences, completely denying experiences altogether. Whether it's people, situations, or different things that will, give you, a different perspective, a different a view, through the truth. And the denial ultimately comes from fear. It comes from the paranoia, the anxiety that we've already, again, premeditated, that we've already exercised over and over and over again through our thought loops, over again, to where we think we know how it's going to play out. We think we know the end result of it. So therefore we keep incurring it. And if you ever realize or watch yourself do this, where it plays a thought so much and it builds so much intensity behind it, it literally starts hijacking your emotions, hijacking everything, where you start to go into that trigger. It's crazy how the thought can literally just hijack the whole thing. Okay. And I would say, definitely with, denial, and you have to ask yourself, why you refuse, vulnerability, why we refuse being honest with even ourselves, and there's a lot of things that we don't agree with ourselves actually on. When it comes down to denial and not being able to be honest with ourselves, it's because at some point or many points in our life, we are very, very aware of what our choices have been, and we are not okay with those either. And we haven't forgiven those. Therefore, it's almost like you're beside yourself. You're almost like you're two beings in one pod, and the denial in that is it's always going to come from the fear, the distrust in yourself, the doubt in yourself, the lack of faith, where then ultimately you won't step into the experience. You won't feel you'll deny it. Oh my God, it's so hot. The heat here is really kicking up really, really hot. The denial ultimately is going to be, the massive wall you got to break down. You got to go through that wall. You got to figure out why you are not able to. Is there something scaring you? Is there something you are in fear of? It was, and really looking at the trauma behind it. Definitely with a lot of, when people can't accept themselves fully, there's so much lack of forgiveness just in their experience, even having a life that they had and being the one that had to live through that. That is very, I would say, it's very stressful to a lot of people to accept that, because they have the lower victim consciousness perspective, where they feel they were pushed into things. They feel, their choices were taken. They feel like it wasn't their pick of life that they would normally have. But at the same time, they lived it. At the same time, they've already been through it. So really, they're fighting their own self. They're fighting the idea of something that's already been experienced and lived. And they cannot bring themselves to accept that. It has nothing to do with it coming. It has nothing to do with you getting prepared for it. It's already over. And a lot of times, it's years and years over, but they cannot accept that is them. That is their life. And a lot of times it's because they are so in comparison with everybody else, with what's going on, what other people are doing and saying. They are trying to keep up with this image of society that they have implanted in their mind that they think that they have to constantly be in, equatable to. They have to be somewhere around this range, and then they'll feel good. They're a proper member of society at this point. And that ultimately, that again drives the unhappiness, drives the inner desire and lust to have greater experiences or grander, bigger impacts of that, because you feel suffocated, you feel deprived, you feel starved, from those experiences, or just from that ability to have that in your life, to experience that for yourself. Yet they won't face the very things that are in the way. They won't face and be honest with themselves that maybe they have been hijacking themselves. Maybe through choices, I have been sabotaging myself. Maybe through choices, I have been choosing to just hate myself. And I don't care. You have to really figure out, feel into, like, why are you acting that way? Why shouldn't you be allowed to have that? Don't you deserve that? Aren't you worthy? Wouldn't it be a grand experience? Wouldn't you love that? Wouldn't that bring you joy? Then why not? There's a reason for it. And don't just brush it off your shoulder like it's just like, it's just not my thing. Bullshit. You're being a weak-ass bitch. That's what mom would sit there and call everybody, being a weak-ass bitch. Step up. Look at it. See why would you not want a grander experience for yourself? To experience the healing so you're not in terror anymore, so you're not in trauma, so you're not in fear. You feel confident, you feel bright, you feel like you can accomplish things, you feel like you can support people. You feel purpose. Why shouldn't you feel those things? What's wrong with that? Are you that scared of actually being in that space? Do you know what you'll become if you do that? But these are the very things that people sit there and all the time just ramble on and on in their mind about, and they're so scared just to do it. And we're all there. We've all going through different layers and processes of that too, and experiencing and understanding what it really means to be honest with myself, being more honest with myself, being more vulnerable, being more transparent. And where does that lead me? What comes up then at that point? When I've already been transparent, when I've already been vulnerable, when I've already been expressive, but yet there's deeper layers. So where does that take me now if I go deeper into it? What else is there? How really high have I stacked this whole layered story of bullshit in my way of actually my real self? And the more that you dig and you pull those layers off and you start to see all this more of yourself, more of this beautiful, magic, childlike joy and just brilliance coming through, it's like, why in the world would I ever stifle this? Why would I ever sabotage this? It's because the child was scared. The child that was so pure, innocent, and organic in the beginning got very scared of life and what was going on. And throughout life, growing up, you can probably remember these different moments. Your inner child made these choices. This needs to be left here for now. It's not time yet. I need to leave this here for now. And all this life story, going back to that now at this point, that's where the nuggets are. That's where your golden little Easter eggs are that your child hid for you. It's in the pain. It's in the suffering. It's the whole reason why you're here. And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be vulnerable with yourself of what is wrong. What is going on? Why are you upset? Are you depressed? Do you feel lost? What's going on? What do you need? What does your inner child need? Support, to express, someone to listen to, someone to talk to? What is it? And if you don't care enough to even venture that far into yourself, weather the insanity. Go crazy. Go mad if you want to. Because at the end of the day, you can't point a finger and say, well, no one saved me. No one helped me. You didn't grab a rope for yourself. You didn't try to pull yourself out of it. You're just sitting there like going limp, just riding the wave and the freaking whirlwind. Around and around and around you go. But at some point, you have to realize you're sick and tired of the spinning fest, the game. And you step off of it and you're like, all right, I got to get grips of this thing and I got to push. With my own intention, my own will, my own passion, my own strength, my own heart, my own love, my own dreams, all those things. Push it to the limit and bring it forward. Make it the most important thing to you in your entire life. And then all of that will make your life very important to you and very meaningful, because you gave that same importance, you gave that same intention and focus and love and attention. All that together, combined, that's equal energy exchange. If you cannot experience that within yourself first, do not go looking outside yourself for the external version of it, the external experience to live it out, if you have not experienced it internally first. It's not for you. You don't have the capacity to be grateful for it. It has nothing to do with, fuck off. It just simply means that you don't respect it enough to learn how to be grateful for it, to experience it for yourself, so you can actually learn how to truly experience it, love it, live and breathe that, and share that with other people. In alignment with love, not dysfunctionally, because you're hasty, you want what you want, you're in control, you think you know better, all these different things, and you fuck up the experience, not just for yourself, but for the collective too. Other people are in a unity experience. So of course, if someone's going in with low intentions and low frequencies and fucking all up, it's going to affect the collective experience too. Why does everyone else get to eat shit too? Huh? That's what it takes to really understand everyone really does have a big piece in this. It's not just some people and the rest of people are just riding. No, everyone's got a big piece in this thing. Everyone has responsibilities, roles you got to step into and fulfill. It's the whole point of why you're even here. And getting passionate about that, getting, sparked up. The motivation, from that you have a purpose that is greater than this life. It's greater, all these things is greater than, what you may have planned for your career or your family or for yourself or what you want to do. What if it was bigger than that? What if it was way more than just that? But in order for you to get there, in order for you to be able to manifest that for yourself, you have to get out of your way. You have to stop telling yourself these lies and these reasons why you won't jump anymore, why you won't extend the hand anymore, why you won't trust that deeply anymore, why you won't have that much faith anymore. Why? Because you think life taught you not to? You think life taught you lessons? That wasn't life. It was your ego running for the hills, scared shitless, because God's here. Love is here. The light is here, and you're starting to figure shit out, and your ego's fucking scared. So of course it's going to make up a bunch of bullshit. Of course it's going to try to confuse and manipulate and deceive what you actually are getting through. It doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just you are not stepping up to the point of supporting yourself, grounding, shielding, all that. How vulnerable and honest with yourself are you to the point where you actually know what you need? That's so important in these moments. And the energy is definitely from, the new moon in Cancer, those emotional energies, it definitely presses. It presses a lot more on people being more vulnerable because it brings a more intense experiences. Allowing you to feel through your senses in a way stronger, amplified way, with the new moon energies of just everything that you have not really expressed or exposed of yourself. And they're all parts of you. So why are you running from it? Why are you choosing that it's not important or it's not lovable? And those things really, truly, your body can feel that. Your being can sense that. Where you deny these things, where you bypass or you undervalue this. And your vulnerability the entire time is shutting down, right? If someone got on the stage and they gave you a performance and they sang in front of you, or they did a theater arts play, or did something creative before you, and you laughed at them, or you just basically you poked and pin prodded them and just nitpicked them and pulled them apart, you could see the entire time you were doing that, your vulnerability would be shutting down immediately. As soon as that came at you, after you just bared your heart and expressed it, and then that energy comes back, you would shut down immediately. You're like, oh shit, I'm never doing this again. But that's the same thing we do to ourselves. When, all these things we want to express or show or be, and then we just undervalue, we bypass, or we're so condescending and asshole-ish to ourselves. No, No, absolutely not. And then that's what we're doing to the inner child that is wanting to come forward with these things and show and share itself with others. And then we're doing that to the inner child. Like, nope, nope. And the child's shutting down. Vulnerability. Boom, 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 boom. You know, trauma, abuse, neglect, not hearing yourself, not receiving from your own self, not loving yourself, not supporting yourself, not attending to yourself. The list goes on. You see, these simple things that people do so fast in a day, in a moment, and don't even blink an eye when they're doing it to themselves or other people, these are serious implications to the emotional, body and the being. And it's a lot of hesitancy and just distrust, doubt, lack of faith that starts to breed from these experiences that people go through and that they have. And it's really true. It's real fear, real trauma with that. Because who would want to go through that again? Honestly, ask yourselves. Nobody, right? But we can't hold on to it and decide that that's going to be our every result every time we step up to the plate for that. We have to realize it's going to get better. We have to realize that it can get better. And if you can't hold space for that there could be better results, a more magical experience around the corner for you, then really who's holding it out from you? You or God? Huh? If you can't get there for yourself or hold space for it for yourself, what are you waiting on God or anybody else to do it for you for? You really don't feel you deserve it. You really don't feel that you want that for yourself. And that's really being vulnerable, with the idea and the concept that you're not there yet. You're not a pro. You don't have it all figured out. You're not the carte blanche. You're not 100% scotch-free. You're not ego-free. It's like being honest, just where you're at, what's going on. So you can look at it without being so tense, without being so shoulders up like, all right, let's look at it. Let's see what it's about. Is like, don't have a freaking mental breakdown, over it. It's not that crazy, And it really will make you feel that way. It'll make you feel crazy because that's how much the thoughts have amped up in the mind. I just had a recent experience with that with Hopi, and she really helped me a lot with just me saying out loud and not how crazy and insane it sounded in my head. The moment I said it out loud and could observe someone else's physical behavior and their facial expressions and just witness how they receive the energy, it was not crazy at all. But it made me feel crazy because of how much I had thought about it and was in there and just kept going around and around, but I never said it out loud. You see, and that's where the ego will hijack you. And you have to be vulnerable. You have to be honest. And when those potholes form and you can see where you're evading yourself, those are also the targets that the ego absolutely knows are there. It's going to use those windows next time when it comes through for a trigger. It's going to get you right there in that spot that you thought you were so good bypassing this time. Wait till the curveball comes back around, right? And that's about being attentive to ourselves, cleaning up the mess, not trying to cut corners, be all superficial or just temporarily self-gratifying. It's not going to overall move the energy or help you realize the truth so you can actually move past this. It's just going to recreate more dysfunction, more pain, more suffering, more experience until you get tired of going through the same lesson and you realize you just need to surrender and just move on, right? Because there's a lot of more grander things for you. But if you always entertain the same old bullshit, the same entertainment is going to come right back to you. And you're going to be bored. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be disappointed. You're not going to like it. You're not going to be satisfied. You're going to be upset. You're going to feel lack, devoid. And then you're going to move into lust. You're going to move into going after those things because you feel deprived. When all wild, from the very get-go, from the very beginning, you never even made an intention that you actually deserved it. You never felt worthy about it. So why should it be given to you? And that takes honesty. To really look at yourself and ask yourself, have I really been supporting myself? Do I really love myself? Am I really going to stick my neck out for myself like I would other people? Have I been playing coy? Have I just been ditching myself whenever it's not, doesn't serve me? That's cruel. That's very cruel. And all that resentment that you actually have from yourself, from your own self-neglect, from your own self-abandonment, your own self-inflicted pain and suffering, you have so much resentment against yourself because of those experiences, and you can't accept it, so therefore you are projecting now onto other people. And other people are always going to be your constant reason why you can't be happy, why you can't find happiness, and why you won't be who you are. You see how that works? You have to take accountability for the toll, the debt, the equal energy exchange has to be exchanged. So until you take accountability for that and accept that, yes, that's my energy, that's my own pain and suffering I chose. Nobody told me to do that. I did that on my own. I'm a grown adult. I can accept this. I did it. And how freeing that is. The vulnerability, that once you get to that point of vulnerability and transparency and releasing that truth or that awareness that you just held back for so long, probably years, bliss. To experience what comes after, where you thought it was going to be so bad, and you experience the flip, and there's nothing even like it, bliss. Absolute beautiful bliss. To be so relieved in that moment, watching and seeing it actually happen, and you spent so much time in fear that it wasn't going to be that way. It's powerful. And that vulnerability will help you get to that bliss point, that happiness, the relief point in your being. Because so much tension is built up in the body. The body, everyone on this planet, everyone's tense. Everyone's amped up. Everyone's stressed the fuck out. They're spinning the fuck out. They don't know what's going on. They're having a bad day. So the body, the physical body, is going to, of course, mirror that. It's going to mirror that through the muscles, the tissues, the cells, the bones, everything. So, of course, as we reach the vulnerability, that's a massive release point where we can just come clean. We can just clear it all right now. Just get it out, clear it. And it allows that mass energy to eject from the body, to release and process fully, which will provide relief because you don't feel so weighed down and stretched from all this energy that needs to get out, but you're not allowing it. But the vulnerability will. It will free you. It will feel so blissful, and it allows you to get your confidence back, your power, your truth back, and using your voice more. You're teaching yourself, you're walking yourself step by step back home into divinity, and teaching yourself that these things are important. Life, you may have taught you these things weren't. Human society and the abusive nature of humanity up to this point taught you these things weren't important. And now you have to return to them for yourself. Decide to stand behind yourself. Decide that your voice is important, that it means something, that you do have something to say, that you do have something to share, and you're not just this mute thing in the corner. You're here for a reason too, just like everybody else. You have a purpose, you have a contract just like everybody else. So all these things that God has gifted you and granted to you, they are yours and empowered to you to use in divinity. It's your birthright by God. It's nobody else's permission they have to give you or you get from them. Fuck that. No. But you see, you have to make this choice yourself. You have to decide for yourself that these are important to you, that they matter to you now. Your willpower matters to you now. Your expression matters to you. Your truth matters to you now. More than anybody else's truth, your truth matters to you now. Because it's your life, it's your experience, it's your truth, it's what you have become. So if it's not important to you, it's not important to anybody else. Why would it be? Why should it be, right? We have to reinstill the worthiness, the value in ourselves, and the words we say, the actions we do, how we go about doing it. It's all means something. And you have to be incredibly vulnerable with yourself to observe and watch yourself do this because you have to retrain yourself. That's what we're going through. We are going through dissolving the programming and retraining ourselves from square zero. And it was pretty interesting experience, when I talked to Hopi about it. It's like, and she brought that up. It's like, yeah, it's like going back to like square one, 0 point, as a child, working from a child's consciousness, really innocent, and just really understanding how this thing works the right way, in alignment with love, not from the dysfunction. And we learned what the dysfunction was, so now we can innocently, from the child's perspective, now learn what this truly is in innocence and move forward from that point. And it's okay. You don't have to know what you're doing. Nobody knows shit, right? It's all an experiment still in this process. It's all learning. You have to put one foot in front of the other and see what you get. And it has to do with no fear. Trust the experience. Have faith in mom that's going to be grander every time you take that step. But it literally is working from the child's consciousness up. Again, now at this point, after we have cleared all the dysfunction and the programming, and yeah, there's a lot of things that mom shared about that, that a lot of things we did, master, we were good at in 3D, we learned through the programming. So if the programming dissolves and it's not there anymore, we truly have to organically learn how to do these things over again, because the program is not there. Therefore, we're not riding on the program. We're feeling now instead of following some little systematic map in the mind. It literally is a flip of the whole experience, and everything is going to be different. So that whole thing, just sharing that with you, I really felt was really, really powerful point just to point out with, the children are very free. They're, they don't have, a lot of trauma, or like, the young children, they haven't taken on a lot of trauma or like, insane experiences yet. They are so precious. They're so beautiful and just like bright-eyed and everything, just so full of life. And and the other children are too. It's just they have that innocence about them where they don't know pain and suffering yet. They don't know fear and all that yet. That's not a massive catalyst for them in their experience. They're still like just pure innocence, and that energy, learning from that point without any judgment, opinion, any kind of system to go by, just clean. We're just winging it this time through the heart. We're just feeling our way through it this time. That's it. That's going to challenge a lot of things and people because they have to step up. There's a lot of people. I would definitely with that, with like, vulnerability too. That's a good one, Angels. Fear of the unknown. That definitely is a big one with, I've come across that quite a few times in sessions, with people who've either had like a lot, traumatic experiences or just kind of like scary experiences with like spiritual stuff, or, they've had a lot of trauma around like, churches and just like, things that happened when they grew up. And not even just that, just like life, they've seen a lot of things, and it brings about this energy in people where they are apprehensive to life itself, just to experience, where they are, their faith and their trust, and the unknown is very deeply diminished, to where they have a lot of control issues about it. There's usually a lot of people that have to plan everything, everything has to be on a calendar, time stamps, everything like that. They cannot trust what they can't see. They cannot trust what they don't already know or what they can't prove, and it creates this huge fear of the unknown, where they won't put a lot of their faith and love and trust into, something they can't touch, which is deeply disturbing, because your soul and everything you're operating off of is nothing you can touch, but it's moving everything that you are. That's the point. So to get stuck at that belief system, like, all right, well, no, that fear will block a lot of the expansion. It shuts down the vulnerability. Spiritual expansion, has a lot to do with the creativity, the expression, everything coming forward, and the releases, the ability to transform energy and discern, what those are. All that experience coming forward, it has a lot to do, not only with the body waking up, light body, mental, emotional, physical body, all those different things, but just with the energy itself, the body has to reach a certain point. And it's been so just tensed up, abused, and just stressed out, to where it literally needs you to choose that. Have a choice where, like, I'm going to relax. I'm going to calm down. I'm going to, have a peaceful moment. I'm going to go tree meditate. I'm going to go on a walk. It's like you've been so conditioned to suffer and just deal with it, be okay with it, accept that this is normal, this is necessary. Life is a suffering, laborious job, and choose literally to relieve yourself, choose to relax, choose to be at peace, choose to calm yourself. It has to be a choice at this point, not forever, but at this point to curb the conditioning, to curb the programming, how just in the behavioral patterns it's stuck in with everybody. It literally is a choice at this point. You have to choose that you are worthy to go sit your butt down for 5 minutes and just feel into your own self and not worry about what you're going to go with the job, anything that day or what you got to do next. It has to be a choice now at this point to pull yourself from this linear 3D conformity systematic schedule structure that you have just been implemented to every single day, adapting and pushing yourself to adhere to for nothing really, not high purpose at all. It's just this set discipline and a lower frequency, and we're dissolving that and setting a higher discipline now, making the discipline about love, the discipline about self-focus, self-love, self-gratitude, all these different things, and be able to share that again externally with others. We are flipping the discipline from what society would rather tell you a functioning adult, a functioning human being is, does, and what they look like when you see them. And we're changing that whole structure, throwing it away, and we are making a new discipline, a new practice out of love, out of truth, out of transparency, vulnerability, passion, magical moments and synchronicities, Starships 5D, all the grand shit, like everything that 3D is not. But yet you see how defensive, how stubborn people are to, stick to that schedule and that system. And it's just because they don't know anything else. They have practiced this discipline for so long. This is what they know. This is what they are familiar with. And when they are scattered, they fall back to this discipline. You see, when people get disturbed or their emotional life or their relationships or things like that are starting to blow up around them, then they have to go back to work. They have to work. They have to go back to that discipline, no matter if it's set in 3D, no matter if it's set in the lower timeline, the lower frequencies. That's still a discipline. It's a set discipline for them that they go back to, and they will use as an escape too as well. They're like, oh, I gotta go back to work. I just don't want to be around them. I don't want to go home. I'll just work extra hours. It's like this is now how they're going to transform, the energy, but they're really not. They're really not processing. They're just escaping all that stuff, escaping. So definitely with that, it's a massive push, everybody to, just get real with yourself, to look yourself in the mirror, spend an extra few moments while you're brushing your teeth, look yourself in the mirror, look at your beautiful self, love yourself, be grateful that you're even here, that you are who you are, and that you're capable of doing what you do now. At this point, there's a lot of people that can't even get out of bed. There's so many people that are sick right now, they can't even move, right? And so there's a lot of opportunities that we have every day, every moment. We just bypass. We're so ungrateful for. We take it for granted, The magic truly lies in you being able to be aware of all the blessings coming in, even if it's overwhelming, even if it's a lot. But you just being aware that the blessings are there, that's gratitude. You acknowledging that your life is getting grander, it's getting better, because you are allowing more and more love into your space, it's gratitude. Because you have to be grateful for it in order for it to magnify and amplify and manifest, right? Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations. And that will help you with vulnerability as well. The more you can be grateful, not focus on your pain and suffering just because this is what this and that, like the gratitude in that, what you have learned, how far you have come as a human being with the shit you've had to go through and who you turned out to be at this point when it could have been so much worse and you could have been someone very different. Gratitude. How grateful are you that you've arrived at this place as this being in this lifetime and you weren't something completely different and it could have been a little bit worse. I'm so grateful. I am, personally. Because I know it could have been worse. I know I came across many choices on the journey here that I wanted to choose and I didn't. And I'm so grateful I didn't. So again, it's the gratitude. How much you really watched yourself go through your experience, and you're so grateful for how you evolved, how you became, How much do you love yourself and honor yourself, respect yourself for the choices you made, for what you had to take on and just get through, just to still be this semi-stable, sane being, pushing love on this planet of absolute crazy-ass fucking people losing it, Gratitude. So much gratitude. That years and years and years ago when you woke up and you got your ass moving and you kept pushing and understanding things, waking up, that you're not in the same spot as these people in the third wave that are still asleep. so much gratitude that you're not being just manipulated every day, blind to it. You have awareness now. You know what's going on the planet. You're not just a blind sheep anymore. Gratitude. Because the experience could always be different. But at least, are you grateful for this one that you have? Because that's going to set apart the next experience that you have. How deep you can go in gratitude with that one. And if you didn't see it in this one, you definitely aren't looking for it in the next one. You see how it works? The intention has to always be there no matter what, or else it's not important to you. It's not a focus for you. It's not where your energy is going to go. You can't fantasize and dream about it all day and not apply it, not act, not move in it. Because then you're saying, well, no, you're denying it for yourself. And even if you gave such grand passion to it in your thoughts and your ideas and you really liked it, it didn't manifest because you didn't support it, you didn't trust it, you doubted it, you didn't have faith in it, you didn't want to actually co-create that. Bring it forward, let alone for yourself or to share with anybody else. Selfish. So selfish to sit on your ass and allow all these creativity, the creative thoughts and ideas come through, the love, the expression that wants to come out, and you choose to stifle it. You choose to shut it down, squeeze it to the vulnerability, it locks down, and you're just like, nope, I'm good the way I'm at. The way I'm at, the way I am, the way I've been doing things, the way I've been pushing it. It's always worked this way for me. It's always been part of my plan. It's gotten me lots of attention. It's gotten me a lot of, awards or achievements, or I pushed past this really hard part of my life because of this. It's like ultimately at the end of the day, you will learn and you will realize that the suffering and the pain never was the will of God. And it was through our own choices a lesson massively, and we're grateful for it. But to self-incur that, to keep going through it, it shows how locked down you are, how non-vulnerable you are to the truth, to where you will allow yourself to suffer more because you won't be vulnerable. You won't be honest with what the real issue, the real problem is. Therefore, you cannot get to bliss, you cannot get to joy, you cannot get to happiness because you will not allow it, because you won't be honest with yourself. You see, these things sound so simple, but when you actually go to do it and apply it, where are those people at, And it's definitely, you got to push. And it's a step-by-step process. It's not something you're going to get overnight. We're just going to be like this pro transformer. You're just going to be able to take on whatever you want, go through whatever, dissolve it. Yeah, I'm a badass. No, it's going to test you. Because the same reason why that traumatized you before, the same reason why you left your empowerment and your will back there, the same reason why you chose to shut your voice down and not be who you are all those years, it's the same reason you got to go back through now and figure out a higher idea to evolve that to. What's your truth now in that? Versus 10 years ago, you still in the same spot? Let's get to work then. That's really what it comes down to. How attentive are you actually to your own self, your own energetics, observing yourself, your progress. Does your progress even mean anything? I remember, coming home from school, elementary school, and you have all these different, projects and papers and stuff we did at school, and you get an A, and you get so excited to go home and show your parents yeah, I got an A on this assignment. You're so excited, and can you be that for yourself? Can you be excited for your own results, for your achievements, for your successes, for the things that you are doing amazingly and beautifully? Can you show up for yourself? Can you be excited for yourself? Because nobody else is, and that inner child that came home from school every day with those, the A's and stuff, and was so happy with himself that, they did good, and they were so happy. Are you doing that for yourself still? Probably not. Nobody is. It doesn't matter anymore. Don't care. That's really where we got to get back to, that innocence, where those things do matter. The simplicities are important. They are beautiful, and they are the structures, the principles that everything else sits on. And if you can't see the magic just in those small, beautiful moments, you're missing it on all the big ones. It's just how it is. So definitely, I'm going to check the comments real quick. Man, I should have brought some water. It is toasty in here. Dun, 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 dun. Hi, everybody. Dun, 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 dun. Aw, thank you, everybody. Love you. Yeah, I feel I'm gonna wrap up here in a moment. Just I feel just a few more roadside nuggets or before we go. For this day, today, slow down, slow everything down. All right. Watch yourself where you are moving too fast. And you got to catch yourself because the ego's quick. It tries to be quick like a little snake. Slow down. Watch where you are starting to speed up on things, where you try to rush through things, you just hurry up and get things done. Just, don't look at things. You got to slow everything down to realize where is it getting you at. And once you correct these things, once you get it back into balance, back into trust and faith, and everything starts speeding back up, you will be a solid unit, one unity together within yourself, moving forward faster and faster and faster, accelerating, and everything's working in unison because you slowed down to look at the parts that needed a little bit more love and attention, got those online and activated, and as you sped up, it all worked way more efficiently. The performance was at its highest because all components were maximized. Ooh, those are codes that got downloads on that one. Thank you, Mom. Yeah, I love you all. Definitely, drink lots of water. It's hot today. Grounded out ceremonies, writing, reflection, get it out, express, talk it out, go talk to a tree, talk to a bird, talk to your dog that you have, whoever. Just express and get it out and feel heard. There's a lot of times that you're it's a big block of the vulnerability. It's like, well, I'm not going to say it now because no one heard it before. I'm not going to do it now because no one cared before. I'm not going to do it now because no one wanted me to before. It's like, let yourself be heard. Even by yourself, let the dog hear you, let yourself express and feel received by someone, if at least yourself. Stand in the mirror and talk to yourself and receive from yourself. Listen to your own voice. Hear the truth coming through. Hear the love coming through and receive it. Don't be doing a bunch of different stuff while you're doing it either. Don't distract yourself. Don't go into escapism or aloofness. Stay present. Support yourself. Be there. Show up for yourself. Decide and choose that you are worthy. And everything in life will choose that for you as well. All right? I love you all. Take care. Thank you, Mom, for this beautiful, beautiful stream. And I will see you all later on tomorrow at 2 p.m. There will be someone I feel later on this evening at 6 Eastern time, but 4 p.m. Mountain time. All right. I love you all. Take care.